Okay, if we could have your attention, please. We are now joined by our winners of the 35th Annual Drive for the Cure 300 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Joey Logano, Brian Wilson, and Mike Nelson. So, gentlemen, congratulations. This is Joey's 27th win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and second in 2016. So, Joey, if you could just open up with some comments about your race tonight.
Yeah, what a fun night for sure. Good recovery from the first part of my day. So I feel a lot better than I did, I don't know, about 3 or 4 hours ago when I tried to knock down the wall. So feel better now. Obviously a great PBG Mustang. You know, Brian Wilson put together a great team from the kind of picking and choosing a bunch of people from the race shop, and it's a lot of fun because you got guys that have been racing for years, and some it was their first race this weekend. So it's a fun mix to be a part of and to come out here and race with nothing to lose. And you know, we had a good car, maybe not the best car out there, but we had a good enough car that we can make something happen with. And we stayed on a lead lap on that long run, and Pickery did their job by keeping us in position to make a awesome restart at the end, and you know, kind of an all or nothing move, and be able to you know, get the lead and ultimately hold them off to get the checkered flag. So you know, a lot of fun to be able to do that, and like I said, a lot better way to end the day than the way it started.
Okay, if you have a question for Joey or Crew Chief Brian Wilson or Vice President of Operations Mike Nelson, please raise your hand and we will get a microphone to you. Okay, we'll start up here in the front.
Zach Tansbury, Front Stretch. Just mentally and physically, running 800 miles in one day. You know, the first race was difficult, had some troubles, but mentally and physically, what was it like today out there on the track? I'm
okay. I didn't run the full 800 miles. I sat in the garage for about 100, I think. So my neck feels it from knocking down the wall, but besides that, I feel good. My arms are in good shape. You know, I tried to prepare myself the best I can for today, knowing what I had ahead of me, and I feel good. You know, I feel like car drove good. If the car was that bad, I'd have a hard time trying to keep up with it. But yeah, I think trying to do this at Dover last week would have been very challenging. After a cup race at Dover, usually you're pretty tired. But here at a mile and a half, a little bit bigger racetrack, you have a little bit of straightaways to you know, relax for a little bit. You know, I think gives your body enough to get through it. Mentally, I'm shot. I've had a long enough day that I'm kind of used up. But you know, overall, I got everything I had to get out of it. So.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob.
Joe, you talked about kind of a mentally long day. I was curious during the cup race how your emotions were, in the sense of, you know, I talked to Harvick and he said he went to sleep and he woke up and he had gained about 20 points on 8th. You were actually out there. I mean, did you feel better at the end of the cup race than you did while you were sitting in the garage?
Yeah, I feel better about it. You know, my team did a good job fighting to get back out there, and I think we gained 2 points by doing that, and that could be the difference when it's all said and done. So did a good job getting back out there, and really we were, I think, 3 or 4 laps from being able to pass about 4 cars, which would have been nice. But you know, right now I think we're 6 points out. I think it's what I was told before I started this race. And you know, we're going to quite possibly our best racetrack. I think Charlotte and Kansas are our 2 best racetracks. So I felt very confident going into this round, and I had a very good car today. So I'm looking forward to getting to Kansas and seeing what we got and seeing if we can break through to get a win. But if not, a solid points day, I think we can manage with what we got, but we can't afford to make any mistakes. And with Talladega coming up and with a for sure unknown, you never know what's going to happen. So if we can break through and get a win, we'll feel a lot better.
Brian, Joey mentioned
that's my family out there. Yes, we're all loud and obnoxious. Yes, we all have one.
Brian, Joey mentioned that it was the first win for several members of your team. So could you just talk a little bit about what that means to your organization?
Well, obviously we use the Xfinity Series to develop a lot of crew members. So we've got a lot of young guys, whether it's on the pit crew or the mechanics. and for myself included, I'm trying to develop as a crew chief. So for everybody, it's extremely exciting. For some of us, it's pretty relieving to get a win, but it definitely is the reason why we have this program at Penske.
Mike, could you share a few thoughts on the same thing as well?
Yeah, well, there's one good thing is Brian Wilson's first win as an Xfinity crew chief, so happy to see him get that after his long tenure with us at Team Penske, so very proud of him for that. And I saw a lot of new faces, guys that haven't been with us for a long time that have gotten a chance to get in victory lane. It was good to get PPG in victory lane as well, so really proud of the effort out of this team, and they never gave up all day long.
Okay, additional questions, please raise your hand. Okay, we'll take another one here in the back and then come back up front to Mike.
Jacob Seelman, Race Chaser Online. Actually got kind of a two-parter for you, Joey. That last restart, where did that run come from? I mean, with the way the 42 just had everybody's number all day, where did you dig to find that run and be able to slow him up just enough to clear him there in turn 3?
You know, the first start of the race, the initial start, I started third, and Larson was in front of me, and I could have made the move then, and I thought, man, it's be really dumb to do this the first lap of the race. So I knew I had that move in my back pocket. So when the caution came out and I saw I was third, I liked my position, and I said, well, now's the time to do it. You know, and then we were going down the back stretch 3 wide, and it was kind of a game of chicken, to be honest with you. Who's going to lift first? And I was not going to be the first one to lift. I knew that. It's you know, I was driving the car with nothing to lose, so I'm going to drive like I got nothing to lose, and it worked out fairly well to be able to drive off in there and keep them on my quarter. And eventually, you know, we both made the turn, but I was able to kill enough of his momentum to get out in front of him. And then the race was on. You know, he started running the top and catching me. And I was like, oh boy, what do I was getting confused. I almost keyed up and asked, like, what should I do? Because I was like, I was faster on the bottom, and I knew that. But I saw that he was making so much speed up top. I was like, maybe I need to move up top and just slow him down. But I think he got into the wall a little bit. That gave me enough of a cushion to be able to hold off the 1 at the end. So I'm glad it didn't come down to that, because it was going to be a crazy race at the end trying to hold each other off. And it's something Kyle and I have done quite a few times, even here at Charlotte. I think of earlier this year in the All-Star race. We've raced for the win here a lot. He's very fast here at this racetrack. He's got the top figured out very well. You know, so it's kind of a fun race because it's kind of top versus bottom, and you know, you kind of see how it turns out. So it's fun to race against him. Obviously, I'll be racing against him the rest of my career, but it's a lot of fun.
Your 2 wins in this series this season, they've both come in this 12 car. You've been in both the 12 and the 22 and been close and close and close, and that 22 just can't quite get to victory lane. Is there anything that you felt, having driven both cars this season, that's been different, or has it just come down to circumstances and bad luck?
Well, I think, you know, something that I think is very special today is that we won on an oval, and it's something that, you know, it's no secret that Team Penske's been struggling with this year on the Xfinity side, is that a mile-and-a-half program, or even our short track stuff, hasn't been as fast as it needs to be. We won on a road course earlier this year, and that's a road course. That's a different game. But you know, to answer your question between the 12 and the 22, you know, the cars, and Mike can speak to this probably even better than me, but the cars start off the same. You know, when they leave the shop, they're the same. And then obviously we'll put our setups in and change it a little bit from there. And Roger probably says it the best, is you both get 9 irons, and you can, it's up to you on how you want to grip the club, you know, and that's kind of how our setups go. And so, you know, the cars start the same. We're able to work on them differently, and you know, I think, you know, circumstances have worked out pretty well with the 12 car. When we've had opportunities to win, we've won. You know, and I think that's something that's fun to do with this group of guys. But the 22 teams has made great strides as well. You know, both our cars were up there towards the end of the race. You know, and I think if you look at kind of where we were earlier this year to where we've been the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 races, that the speed's coming back. And so it's fun to be a part of that, to see it kind of make the turn and stop the bleeding, and now we're starting to move forward again and to break through. And you guys well know as much as anybody, but when you're able to get a win and get that momentum, the Xfinity side of Team Penske needed something like this, a nice pick-me-up. And the pit crew today that pitted the 12 car is normally the 22 Xfinity pit crew. So to see all of them in victory lane, it's a big confidence booster for all of them. So a lot of good things came from this.
Next question from Mike.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com. This is probably more for Mike and Brian than for Joey. Last year, y'all had 8 wins out of the Xfinity Series. This year, this is your second one, and as Joey mentioned, first on the oval. Hendrick folks were in here earlier today talking about how they had to approach their turnaround over the summer to find their speed and get to where they're at now. Can you give us anything without giving away industry secrets of what you focused on or how you went about getting these cars to where they're now back up running for wins in the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, it's just in the details. It's typically when you get behind, it's never one glaring thing. So, we've worked on a lot of things, and it's all areas from the engine side to the bodies to the setups to the details of how we go about the race weekend. So it's really just been a lot of little things that we've done, and we still have a little ways to go, but I feel like we're on the right track.
Yeah, I think I would echo exactly what Nelson said there. We really had to focus on the details. I think the races where we've had 2 cars has definitely helped us. Being able to have double the information throughout a weekend, so a weekend like this is very important. And then coming back to tracks the second time around with all the rule changes in the off season, that doesn't hurt ever. We showed up with a setup that was very close to the first race, and really it was just basics and just working on the car and making the handling better to where I don't feel like we had the best car tonight, but we certainly were in position, and obviously Joey was able to have a great restart. So it's just kind of getting that momentum and working on the details.
Any questions from the press box? Okay, we'll take our last question back here.
Rents Brown, Race Chaser Online, the Performance Motorsports Network. Brian, congratulations on your first win, by the way. Can you just talk to me a little bit about how Charlotte, which is probably one of the harder tracks when it comes to setting up a car and keeping the car adjusted through a race, can you talk to me about how the balance needs to be almost perfect at a track like this to keep someone like Joey or anyone in that car up front?
Yeah, Charlotte definitely throws everybody a curveball, especially when you expect it to be a night race and then it ends up being a day race after a Cup race. There was a lot more rubber on the track than what we normally see in an Xfinity race, so there were a lot of variables there. After the Cup race, I debriefed with Joey for a while, tried to get a feel for where the track had gone. And then even at the start of the race, we were not where we needed to be. Every stop we had to work on the car all the way through. So Charlotte always is a challenge, especially when you start off and you're not very close, and then you know that at the end of the race it's going to be dark. So there's quite a few challenges tonight, and I'm not going to say that we nailed it perfect, but by the end we were good. We were in the ballpark on handling, and obviously good enough to be able to get the win.
Okay, any final questions? All right, gentlemen, congratulations. Thanks for coming in.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.